facilitator, Chris Cathers, talking about technology and everything you'd want to know about technology for your business, everything from web and social media and online sales and various platforms. Very interesting, really good stuff, and that's for tonight and tomorrow. Before we get started, I'd like to read the acknowledgement, please. I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge with respect the traditional territory of the Lekwungen people whose land this program is based, and the Songhees, Esquimalt, and Wasanic peoples whose historical relationship continues on with the land to this very day. We thank you all for attending virtually from different traditional territories you reside. And again, I hope you're enjoying the webinar series. We're getting a lot of positive feedback. I'd like to go over very quickly a few ground rules. First of all, the funding for this series is through the generosity of the Songhees Nation, the Victoria Native Friendship Center, the Songhees Innovation Center, and Van City. I'd like to go over with you very quickly as well what we have in store for you for the rest of the series. Today and tomorrow, it's really everything you want to know about technology. It's great stuff, and Chris, I'm going to be paying a lot of attention because a lot of this stuff is over my head, and I keep calling you and asking you for the answers. So maybe I'll find out firsthand exactly what's going on. Next week, Monday and Tuesday, it was originally supposed to be Tuesday and Wednesday, but it's going to be Monday and Tuesday. We have effective marketing, branding, and guerrilla marketing for Indigenous businesses. And this is with our guest facilitator, Lex Dunn, who is a marketing consultant, a guru, and he's also the one who did the theatrics, communication, and networking workshops, which were so popular last week. So that's next Monday and Tuesday. Then the following week, June 29th and 30th, I am back for 2 sessions called Being a Business Rebel. And it really covers elements such as the psychology of business, flexible ethics of business. We talk about the ups and downs of business, what's not so easy about business, stuff you should know about, stuff I learned the hard way. Some of it cost me a lot of time and money. But eventually, these are really good lessons that I will pass along to you. And also how to stand out and stand apart from competition. Just as a quick reminder, all the webinars are on our Thriving landing page. They're usually, the webinars for this week will be loaded by Thursday of this week. So all the previous webinars are there under Hello, I am an entrepreneur, Thriving, webinar, training, videos, link, and there they are there for your interest if you want to review anything. If there's any parts of any of the workshops that you would like hard copies of the PowerPoint, please let me know. I'll be glad to send them to you and add them to our resource network. So right now I'm going to, if technology allows me to do this, I'm going to turn the baton over to Chris Cathers, who will be our facilitator. And I think we're in store for a couple of very interesting and involved webinar presentations. Make sure you have your paper and pencil and or your tablet. You're going to make notes. There's going to be lots of stuff here for you, and we're just waiting for Chris to come on board. And so yes, please send me all of them by email. I may actually post them online, so that might be an easiest thing. Thank you, Lillian. I will try to get that done before the end of the workshop. Chris, if you can turn your camera and mic on. It says your camera is off. There you go. And let me know when you want any of the YouTubes loaded, and always give me, 30 seconds or so to get it set up, because it's never, technology is easy when you know what you're doing, but sometimes there's these hiccups. So it's all yours. I'm going to load your presentation now. Good luck, Chris.
Thanks, Jay. Good evening, everybody. First of all, I'd like to recognize the traditional territory of the Coast Salish people, and I'm based here in Nanaimo, so I'd like to recognize the territory of the Nanaimo First Nations people for allowing us to live, work, and play in this beautiful land. So my name is Chris Cathers, and Some of you have probably already seen a couple of my workshops that I did previously on business opportunities. But for those of you who are just tuning in for the first time, I'll just go over a quick introduction about myself. So I am from Nanaimo. I'm born and raised here on this beautiful land, Vancouver Island. I'm Métis, and I have a family here, and I'm a serial entrepreneur, as Jay would say. Bit of a startup junkie like him, and love being a part of the startup process, getting new businesses launched, helping entrepreneurs, as well as starting and running my own small businesses. So currently I own and operate a few different endeavors. I have a digital marketing company called Evolution Business Marketing and Communications, where we work with a lot of small to medium-sized businesses, as well as organizations, and helping them with their online branding, their digital communications, things like web development, social media, content creation, getting your website ranked high, strategic advertising online, business planning, mentoring. So all that kind of small business or refreshing of businesses brands. And so I do that marketing. I've been doing that for the last 9 years, and I really enjoy it. Other endeavors, I also am involved with some real estate projects. I have built and I own and operate a number of Airbnb rentals, as well as in the process of redeveloping some property and building some multifamily. One other new endeavor I'm into is just start like a white labeling company called rooftoptents.ca, where I import rooftop tents and resell them here locally. So you can check out that site. It's rooftoptents.ca, and my other business is evolutionbusiness.ca. I think my contact information is all up right here. So for anyone who needs to would want to reach out and just maybe talk about some business or is interested in some one-on-one mentoring, I'd be happy to help you out with any capacity. So I'm based here in Nanaimo. I also attended Vancouver Island University. I studied business and anthropology, and I was recognized in 2015 as top 20 under 40. So for recognition for business and in community. And so I'll be hosting tonight's workshop, and we'll be talking about technology. If anyone has any questions, feel free to put them in the chat box down there. Or again, you can also reach out to me via email. We'll take a short 10-minute break around 7 o'clock. So we're going to talk about, just about technology in our lives and how it impacts us, and as well as some technology for new and existing businesses to kind of basically create more productivity, reach clients, branding, financial. So there's so many different types of technology that are available now. It's incredible, and really has leveled the playing field for small businesses, because before, you used to have huge budgets in order to, advertise on TV or advertise on the radio or in newspapers and magazines. But now with the power of technology, like, web, social media, Google, there's ways to reach clients and customers worldwide. And you don't need a ton of money to be able to reach them. So with some, ingenuity and some creativity, as well as understanding who your target market and your clients are, you can really create some pretty cool things to reach those people. So there's never really been a better time than now to be a small business owner, or get into starting a new small business. So technology is such an integral part of our lives these days. It's, it's good and it's bad. And, we use it to our advantage, but we also need to be cognizant of the negativeness of technology as well, because it is so powerful, and it controls our lives, and it can be pretty intrusive as well. And I know myself personally, having small children, my partner and I, we always have to be very conscious of how much technology we expose to our children, and you kind of see it in people. And I mean, just everyday interaction, people walking down the street or in restaurants or waiting for a meeting. People now have technology at their fingertips thanks to mobile phones. So again, while it can be a huge advantage in a lot of applications, it can also be it can also take away. So I think just the importance of understanding that. So talk about some. First of all, I'm going to talk about some of the ways technology offers instant communication. It offers effective communication. You can collaborate with it, and you don't necessarily have to be even in the same office anymore. And I think with this whole COVID-19, it really has opened a lot of people's eyes to the possibilities of using new technologies to be able to collaborate. And for example, look at these workshops. Like before, Jay and I used to deliver these workshops in person, and Jay lives in Parksville, I live in Nanaimo, so we'd have to physically drive down to Victoria. But now we're able to do it from our offices, so it's pretty cool. So it definitely can boost communication. It also can spur innovation and creativity. Helps employees and entrepreneurs think outside the box, like using social media to interact with customers or employees. But it also helps people with saving time and effort. Makes tedious jobs a little bit quicker. And for example, with some software, you can make quick decisions when you have information stored through databases. Like for example, CRM systems, otherwise known as customer relation management software. There's all kinds of software out there that allow you to input data from your customers. And so, for example, if you're trying to figure out what to charge a client, you can look at all their previous billing, or what they paid before, or how good of a client they are. So it gives you real quick access to information, and allows you to basically make quick decisions. Another thing is it's really increased is mobility. So technology has eliminated a lot of geographical barriers. Smartphones, tablets, other devices free employees and staff from their desks. With a cell phone, internet, and a notebook computer, you can pretty much be anywhere, depending on your business, and still, go along operating your business. So, like for example, this winter I spent 3 months. I traveled Japan, Vietnam, Bali, Singapore, and I was gone for 3 months, but I still kept running my business. I had my internet, my cell phone, my computer, and I was able to communicate using some software, which I'll talk a little bit about. So it's eliminated barriers. It also boosts productivity. This is probably one of the key advantages, which allows you to be able to get more work done quicker. And it can reduce, the cost of running your business. There's tools such as video conferencing and FaceTime, virtual offices that practically eliminate workplace boundaries. I certainly wouldn't want to be, highly invested into office space in major city centers, because, again, a lot of these businesses are going to start thinking, hey, I don't need to have this expensive overhead to operate my business. My employees are doing a great job, if not better, working from home. So, it really, can be, huge advantages to be able to collaborate. And, when you're not confined to those, those geographical barriers, it really makes you think outside the box. I've been running my business virtually since its inception. I mean, I've got full-time staff who work here in Nanaimo. So I've got a full-time marketing coordinator. She works from her home office. I have programmers. I have graphic designers. I got people who work and live in India, people who live and work in the Philippines. I have a public relations writer who lives in Ontario and works for me full time. But I've hired, and work with people all over the world, and I am able to collaborate and, run my business virtually. So, it just makes you think about the possibilities of, with technology to be able to operate your business, remotely. So on the flip side, however, though, there are risks of technology. Technology has allowed a substantial amount of your work and workforce to move beyond those confines of an office. And as you know, a lot of these benefits exist from technology. However, there are downsides that impact our lives, and we need to be very conscious of them. For example, time and attention. Digital technologies give, but they take away, and they can be addictive, and they can encourage addictive behaviors. For those of you who have never seen it, I would recommend watching a video by searching up Simon Sinek and look up the why. I've referenced them in the previous workshops about why people are entrepreneurs do what they do, and that's a great platform for conveying your brand messaging. But he also talks about videos and the addiction of cell phones and how cell phones, what they do is they produce a dopamine in your brain, and it's like your phone buzzes or it dings, or you check your Facebook or your email, and it's like, oh, you got a new message, and it's what it does is it releases this dopamine. It's like, hey, someone likes me, and someone's interested in communicating with me, and so it gives you this kind of like sense of gratitude or this release, and that can be very addictive. So you need to be very conscious and aware of that technology and how it can be very negative into your lives, because they're pretty much, cell phones are with you all the time. You ever left the door and you did the 3 pats, and you're looking for your keys, your wallet, and your cell phone, right? Like you pretty much don't go anywhere without your cell phone these days. And the thing is that these cell phones and this technology is always on, right? I'm sure you've probably received negative feedback when you didn't get back to someone soon enough via email or text message, right? Like maybe you were busy, or you forgot, or and then all of a sudden someone's like, hey, what's wrong? Are you mad at me, or what happened? You didn't respond to my message. Well, no, I was busy. I have other things going on and wasn't really at the top of my list to reply to you. But people have this sense of instantaneous communication now, and they think that if they send you a message out, they expect a message right back. So we constantly receive a steady stream of messages and alerts, and so one strategy is to put your phone on a schedule, like a do not disturb mode, or disable audio or any kinds of alerts from social media, etc. Like my cell phone gets turned off at I think about 9 o'clock, and it doesn't come back on till I think 8 o'clock the next morning or 7:30 the next morning. And if anyone texts me or calls me, it just goes straight to voicemail. I don't get any kinds of sounds, because again that's, you're interrupting your sleep as well, and sleep is critical. So that technology is there, and it can really can create things like poor sleep and physical disconnection and anxiety and depression, because it is an addiction and it's always on. And and if you're going on late at night, or you're staying up late at night, that means you can be less productive during the day. So while it enables you to engage, it also comes at an expense of that face-to-face relationships and information overload. And it can be mentally damaging, and it can be draining, right? Because now we live in this world of what's called FOMO, and that's fear of missing out. And another thing I'll talk a bit more about with social media is that now is like we're constantly comparing ourselves to others, and that's really dangerous. We're looking on Instagram, and we're seeing these people's lives and their amazing dinners and their travels, or their new outfits they're wearing, or these fantastic experiences that they're having, and you're thinking like, oh, I'm missing out. My life's not as good. So there's that negative side of technology that you really need to be aware of, and that if you don't limit yourself or create some strategies in place to kind of at least be conscious of it, and minimize that wasted time and that headspace, you're potentially limiting yourself, and you're limiting your ability to really be successful. And we're all guilty of it. I myself am just equally as guilty as everyone else. That endless scroll, when you're looking on social media and you're scrolling up and down, and you kind of get zoned out and you get in that frame of mind where, all of a sudden, nothing else really matters, and you're kind of like this mindless zombie, or, you wake up and you check your phone right away, and, all these things. But one of these things actually has been really great is, by putting on these workshops here, you relearn it too. And so, for me, that's been great. And I would recommend putting on workshops yourselves if you have the opportunity, really get that chance to kind of reaffirm things you knew. And so some strategies to counter some of the negative stuff of it. One interesting statistic I learned was that the average person receives one notice on their phone every 15 minutes, which I thought was pretty crazy. 90% of all millennials think they have a healthy relationship with technology, but yet they still check their phone on average 160 times a day. So, that blows me away up. And I don't know how many times I've checked my phone, but, I use technology all the time, and I use it as a tool. But it can be very addictive. One interesting strategy that I was really got into, and it was this whole concept of detoxing technology. There's a book by a guy named Cal Newport, and he wrote a book called Digital Minimalism. And a lot of people say that they can't do without technology. So one thing you could do is you write a list of all the valid technology that you use and how you use it, and then write a second list of all the negative acts of technology, staying up too late on YouTube, that endless scrolling, and then try to detox from those negative lists. Another strategy you can do is design technology reminders to break ongoing activity of digital tools such as email and social media. I know some people, what they do is they don't check email to a certain time of day, and then that's it. They check it, maybe once or twice a day, and that's all. Or they don't check social media at all on the weekends. Communicate with autoresponders, that you don't check emails or reply to messages during certain times of day. So on your email, you can put, say, like, hey, I check emails at 9 a.m. Monday to Friday and 3 p.m. Monday to Friday. Otherwise, I'll get back to you. Because again, like I was saying, some people, if you don't email them right away, they're gonna think something's wrong. You can create company policies that limit social media use. That's a really good strategy. Letting people or your staff or employees know that you have a company policy. It's written down in a manual. And thanks, Jay. And that you can only use social media, say on your lunch break, for example. Another really good one to do is unsubscribe from applications on your phone that really take away your time. So you probably have a computer, and you probably have a cell phone, a smartphone, and on your smartphone you have probably have some apps, and probably at these apps they basically take your time away from you during the day, right? So yeah, remove unwanted apps. So that could be maybe games, or it could be Instagram or social media. I'm not saying that you shouldn't still use them or still have them, but maybe if you're in a place, like say you're on your cell phone, you don't maybe need them on there as well. So just take away some apps that basically take away your time, and try to stay off social media. Don't go on it as much, right? Like it can be good, and it's good for business, and we'll talk about that, but it can also be bad, and it can really take away your time. So maybe say don't check social media from 6 or 7 p.m. at night, or don't look at it on the weekends. It's all a matter of creating a habit to break unwanted behavior. And I know, again, like I said, you really have to be really careful with our youth and limiting how much digital exposure they have. I don't think that we yet have really experienced what can really happen as far as this technology addiction with children, because while we've had it around, we haven't really fully had it around that long. And I realize that there's some good parts of it. I think that overall, I think, there's going to be some really long-term, negative behavior with children and too much screen time. So, it's all about creating perspective, basically, right? So, it's a balance. And again, just to kind of summarize the negative things, right? Comparing yourself to others, wasting time, that addiction component to technology, the fear of missing out, that FOMO, and convincing yourself, that you're missing out, right? So I think it's a good idea to detox from technology, and whether that's going on a trip, and taking without any Wi-Fi, or leaving your cell phone, or even just going for a walk and leaving your cell phone at home, or these small things add up and can create positive change with technology. So some of the good things about technology, the business and the applications, again, oh, I go too far now. Boosts communications, right? So we have this incredible website at our disposal, Google, and we pretty much live in this unprecedented time where you can search up almost anything on Google and you can find out this information. So, whether it's, searching up how-to videos, how to, change your oil in your vehicle, to, watching videos on inspirational speakers. Like I was listening to Anthony Robbins this morning. So you got all this incredible power at your fingertips to pretty much learn almost anything. And we've never had this ever in our entire existence. And for business, this can be really powerful, right? We can, see what our competitors are doing. We can search all our competitors and see what they're doing and find out who our competitors are. We can, search up, consultants, or we can find new suppliers overseas. We can create new businesses out of pretty much building a website and having a good marketing strategy. You don't even need to build the products. I think, for those of you who attended the last presentation, I was referring to it, those rooftop tents. I don't make the rooftop tents. I'm just importing them and reselling them. And I built a website, I do the marketing strategy, and you could do that with pretty much almost any type of product. You can look at overseas manufacturers or local manufacturers that someone who just needs some help, or maybe you have the products and maybe you're making something, and now you can basically get your products out to marketplace worldwide. So never has this ever been the time where you could do that up until now, and never had you ever been able to do that with such ease. And so, there's things like, free website builders. I'll talk a little bit more about that. There's, skip down here. And there's, hiring people online, virtually, online advertising. So there's so much different technology out there. It's really honestly going to be probably pretty hard for me to cover all the different applications out there. So we'll talk about right now is getting found. So social media, websites, there's so many different types of social media applications. So in my slideshow here, there's some free website builders. There's one called Square Space. There's one called Wix, and there's one called Weebly. Those are some good free website builders that you can build your website on and get going. If you have a professional type of business and you have a little bit of money, I recommend, maybe hiring someone to do one professionally, or, spending a little bit of money and getting a really good website. because websites are pretty much your face of your business these days, other than yourself. When people are searching for products and services nowadays, they're using Google, and you'll see up here, Google likes Google. I've already referenced Google quite a few times, but Google is pretty amazing, and it can basically make or break a business. If you're found on the first page for when searching your business, you can basically get a ton of business if you have a good product or service and you deliver. Because again, people have these cell phones at their disposal, and that's how they're searching for products and services. And now they have things like reviews online, and they're reading other people's experiences. They're looking at other people's experiences, photos, and you don't really need to look too far to see that. You can go on things like TripAdvisor or Yelp, or these other types of review websites. Facebook has Facebook has their own reviews. So there's all this basically tons of feedback on different businesses, and so that can be a double-edged sword. And I'm going to really stress the importance for any business to really understand how to basically manage their online reputation, because essentially that's what a big part of marketing is nowadays, is that you're having to manage your online reputation. People can go on whether or not they had a good experience or a bad experience, and they can leave you a review. And if you're not on top of that, managing that, it can really have some real negative consequences for your business. So you really want to encourage people to leave positive reviews. You want to encourage people to leave reviews and positive reviews. And if you for whatever reason you get some negative reviews, a good strategy is to ask them to remove it, try to remediate the problem. That's first and foremost. If that doesn't work, you can sometimes you can flag the comments with Google or one of the review companies to ask them to review it if it's not true, or contains libel or defamation. And then you can the other strategy is you leave a good reply, asking them, say, you pride yourself in good quality service, and if you have a problem, please reach out to us. Here's my phone number. We'd be happy to rectify the situation. Because people read that, and even if you have maybe one or two bad reviews, but you have like say 15 or 20 good experience reviews, people can see past that. And I think one industry that really has to do a really good job of managing that online reputation is hospitality and tourism. I mean, you can see it basically can make or break hotels or tourist operators, because people are very, I think that demographic of people, they're really more technologically savvy. They're booking online and they're leaving reviews. So, and another thing with getting positive reviews is it helps your website get ranked higher. So that's one real important strategy for getting your website ranked high, is to encourage people to leave reviews. So whether that's maybe creating some small incentive, right? Like here's a small Tim Hortons gift card, or some strategy to incentivize them to leave a review. It'll pay big dividends. So I can't stress that more, the importance of getting people to leave really good positive reviews. So social media is obviously just completely changed a lot on how we operate as people or in business. You can really connect to customers. You can have messages go viral where they reach a huge audience, and there's all kinds of different platforms out there. Obviously you've probably heard of the ones: Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube. So these are all different platforms. They all kind of serve different, social media needs, I guess. Facebook's obviously the biggest. There's the fastest, actually, one of the fastest growing demographics with Facebook are baby boomers, believe it or not. And then, Instagram, obviously, it's really popular. It's an image-based social media application. It's really popular with, 20 and 30-year-olds, where, say, for example, Pinterest is more popular with, say, with women, women probably aged mid-30s to 60s. And then there's LinkedIn. It's a professional, kind of a business-to-business social media application, where it's a good platform. Say if you're looking to hire, they have a really good kind of a platform to connect with employers and employees. And then there's YouTube, and YouTube's the second most searched website in the world next to Google. So it goes to show you the power of YouTube. And I would highly recommend, with whatever marketing strategy that you're implementing, that it includes video. When you have videos on your website, it gets you better ranked. But also people like videos, and keep them short, keep them direct, try to invoke that why, right? Like, with your brand messaging, try to explain, why it is what you do, showcase some of your products. And the thing is that everyone's a videographer. I mean, you got these cell phones here with some actually amazingly incredible video cameras. Don't, if you're going to make a video and you don't have a budget to hire someone to make a video for you, when you're filming, don't be all jittery. You want to keep it really still, or put it on a stand, or make sure the audio is clean and good. But you don't really have much of an excuse not to incorporate some video onto your website. And another thing is, a lot of these social media platforms are using is live video. So like Instagram and Facebook, when you're going to make a post, you can see that you have an option to go live. And actually, that is becoming more popular, and people like it. It's interactive, and they feel like a immersed in part of your brand. And it also can have some positive results as far as basically getting your site ranked, getting your content ranked. And when I say ranked, I mean when people are in Google and they're searching for products or services, the position of where your website shows up in the search is your rank. And there's all kinds of strategies how to get your website to the top of the list, because you want your website to the top of the list. Mainly just so that people could find you and contact you. And so that kind of live video, live feed to your Instagram and Facebook's becoming more popular. So I would recommend trying to try it out. Again, if you have products that you could showcase on video, I would do that. So there's some other things with that. Chat bots, so you can create auto-responding messages. So I don't know if you've ever gone to a Facebook business page and an instant message pops up, says, "Hey, welcome to the page. If you have any questions, here's our phone number, here's our email, reach out to us." So these kind of chat bots can be, beneficial, and not just chat bots on social media platforms, but also on your website, especially if you're selling products online through e-commerce. I would definitely recommend one platform called Tidio, Tidio, and it's a online chat application that's on your website. You would have to pay for it, but it's like, I don't know, 15 or 20 bucks a month. But if you rely on engaging with those customers, it can really pay off. You can get notified when people are on your website, and you can message them instantaneously. But people also like that kind of live aspect, knowing that there's someone there that can answer their questions. And let's face it, in business, it is about relationships, and you have to build trust and in communication. And so when you can combine trust and communication, and you can leverage these technologies, it really is a formula for success. Using these social media platforms, and I should tell you, don't use them all. Use one or use two, and then use it well. But don't try to spread yourself too thin, because it's not going to work. it's better to do a good job on one or two. And I would recommend, depending on who your target market is, and understand what social media platforms they're using. I would recommend, obviously Facebook, but then maybe you like Twitter, maybe you're really good with Twitter, or maybe you're really good with Instagram, or maybe you really like LinkedIn. So I would just suggest using one or two and do it really well. Obviously use Google. And when I say Google, there's Google My Business. So when you are registering or starting up your business, make sure you register for a Google My Business account. Basically, you need a Gmail, and then you go to Google My Business and you register your business. You will have to put in your contact information, your mailing address, and don't worry if you don't actually have a physical address. You can basically say that you don't have a physical address and that people don't visit you at your business. But what happens is that you have to validate your business, and Google will do that by sending you a postcard with a code on it. And so make sure that you watch out for that postcard that comes in the mail, and then you have to go back onto Google My Business and enter that code in. Because then once you have that Google My Business, when people are searching, your business can show up and it has, information. You'll probably often seen it on the right side is that they'll list your phone number, your address, your hours of operation, maybe a map to your location. So that's, again, really important for search engine optimization. And Google loves Google. You'll see that here in my slide. So you can also go onto your Google page and add posts just like social media. So, photos of your products, photos of your office, photos of maybe your staff, your location, or your services. And you can also do a quick little blurb or what have you. So I would, recommend, every so often going onto your Google page and putting some information down on there, or just going on and editing it. Because, back to my comment that, doing the one or two social medias, because it's all the social media is a little bit different than one another, where some, more image-based, some are more like Twitter, just text-based, and YouTube is, obviously just straight videos. But really get to understand these social media applications because they are critical for your business and getting the message out. I like to think of them as kind of like your public relations arm of your business, and they act as the medium to kind of get the word out of what it is you're doing. So what I do, say when I manage small businesses marketing, is that I'll have a website and I'll post on the website like an article, like maybe a how-to article, or trends about that business or that service, and then I will take the URL, so the website address for that specific post, and then I will copy that website address, and then I'll make a post, say on Facebook, and then it'll like populate a little thumbnail and a title and then a link back to my website. So I do that for, basically driving people back to my website in order for them to get enough information or build that trust, and then for them to, contact me. So kind of capture the lead through promoting my content through social media, bringing them back to the website where I have all my branding, all my messaging, the services that I have. And then, then they can decide whether they reach out to me, or not. So it's kind of like a funnel, and social media is, one part of it. And then again, like Google's another part of it. And again, these are, it's free to post to social media. So it doesn't cost you anything. So, you really don't have, much of an excuse. There's other things on some of these platforms like Facebook. You can, there's these groups, whether it's, maybe you're part of a quadding group, or a, mushroom cultivation group, or, these mom and swap pages, or, there's all these different kind of niche groups that are out there. And chances are your products or services fit within some of those categories of some of those kind of defined groups. And it's important to be a part of those groups because there's a conversation that's happening, and who knows, maybe there's an opportunity to promote your business at some point. I'm not saying go on and spam people and be really cheesy about it, but Like I know, for example, there's Facebook pages, they have, rants and raves pages, or, raves pages. And often I see, where people go on and they kind of do this kind of crowd sourcing, and they say, rave me a painter in town, or they, rave me someone who cleans gutters, or, rave me someone who's good at financial planning. So it's important to be a part of those conversations and part of those groups, because, again, people are looking for your products and services, and there may be an opportunity to promote yourself through these groups. So, and then you'll see another really kind of a really popular section of some of these social media platforms like Facebook is Marketplace. And I'm just astounded of how much information and things that are up for sale on Facebook Marketplace. You can search for people selling stuff like in almost any city, and what it does, it has these kind of fancy algorithms. So once you start searching for things, it'll pick up what your interests are, and it'll kind of display things that are of interest to you. So maybe you have some products, maybe you're making clothing, or maybe you're an artist and you have art. I would definitely highly strongly recommend you using Facebook Marketplace to sell your products. It's a way to get started right off the get-go. Again, it doesn't cost you anything to post. There's no high commission rates, like if you're an artist, like there's no art gallery commission rates. And maybe it's not necessarily the best application if you maybe have like a service, for example, like maybe you're a charter plane operator, or maybe you're a financial planner. Maybe these platforms aren't the best, but again, for anyone selling any products, this is a good platform. But maybe you are a service-based business, and you're just getting started out and you're looking for new customers. There's nothing wrong with putting an ad up on there with some pictures and some information, because again, it's free. So you want to kind of exhaust all those free ways to market and advertise your company through these different technology platforms. So with social media as well, as you may have heard of the term influencer. So there's these people that are heavily invested into social media, and they use it quite a bit, but they have huge followings. So Twitter's a good example of that, where people can get millions of followers, and every time they send a tweet out there, millions of people see it. And when people retweet things, or when people hit the share button or like, again, that sends that out to their network. And so there's these people who are what I call, or what are called, influencers, and depending on what market or business you are in, and what your who your demographic is that you're selling to, chances are there's probably some influencers that are within that realm. So people who are using social media all the time, they have big followings, people look up to them, people trust what they're saying, people share their content. And so it's important to identify who those are, and then a strategy is to basically ask them to share your message, because again, they have a huge reach, and they can reach a vast audience, and maybe that audience are your target market and target audience. So you want to kind of leverage those influential people within social media to help you spread the word out and promote your business. I mean, you see influencers in a lot of aspects of everyday life, whether they're well-respected business people in the community, to political politicians, to maybe sports athletes, to movie stars. They all have this kind of power of influence, and in social media it's no different. And in fact, which is kind of just there's a whole other market of being a social media influencer, and there's businesses created out of it. So if you say are like a travel blogger, and you travel and take photos, and you get a huge following, and suddenly you could monetize that traffic. And like we talked about that at the previous workshop, where some people who have created YouTube channels and they develop tons of content, they're making money off these YouTube channels through affiliate advertisers and marketers and people who want to align themselves with those influencers because they have such a vast audience and a vast reach. So, maybe you don't necessarily have the budget for those level or that caliber of influencer, but I'm sure you have influencers in your everyday life and maybe through your social media channels that you notice who are very active, that people are always engaging with their information. So reach out to them. So some strategies. Oh yeah, we just talked about that. So again, back to the YouTube. So again, make some YouTube videos. It's really powerful. Where we are. Okay, so accessing experts. So I talked a little bit about it last time, but so this is what's called crowdsourcing. So there's these websites, Fiverr, Upwork, Elance are 3 of them. And what they allow you to do is basically hire experts in all kinds of different fields. So, some more of the popular, ways are people to hire, maybe a graphic designer, maybe a writer, maybe a video editor. And so what you can do is you can go on these websites, you can set the price, and you can, maybe set the duration, and you can, post all the information about the job, and then you can basically wait and have applications come in for your job. You can, set the budget, whether it's a one-time fee or whether it's an hourly rate. I would recommend maybe doing it on an hourly rate, and then, or maybe a flat rate, just depends on the job. Like, if it's maybe a simple, quick task, maybe a flat rate makes more sense. But maybe if it's some kind of an ongoing, type of project that you're needing them to do ongoing, then maybe, an hourly rate's better. And so what happens is then once you post your job, you leave it up for like a week or so, and you'll get a whole bunch of people who apply for it. And you'll get people who apply for it all over the world. And then, there'll be all kinds of varying degree of how much they want per hour per job, and they'll list how much they want. And then you can then go through all their portfolios. You can see some of their work. You can see what people have reviewed them on, and you can basically kind of deduct from there and basically make up your own mind whether or not you want to hire them. So I would definitely recommend for certain tasks, for example, maybe you're looking for an admin assistant. So you can go onto Upwork and you can look for admin assistant. So whether that's maybe someone to answer emails, input data, help you with maybe some bookkeeping, or maybe write blogs for you, or do some ongoing graphic design work, or maybe you need a product label made. Maybe you need a business consultant in some specialized niche, or you almost can find almost any type of expert in almost every part of the world, which is really incredible. And so and it doesn't cost you any money to put up the job. So how you pay for it is basically they take a small percentage off whatever it gets built on both sides. So the seller and the sellee pay a small commission to, say Upwork or Fiverr or Elance, and then that's how they make their money. So I would recommend definitely getting to know how to use these platforms, especially when you need someone to do just a quick one-time project, or maybe you need to hire someone on an ongoing basis for maybe small tasks, or again, like I said, administrative type of roles. And then obviously there's things like Craigslist and Kijiji and Indeed for all these different websites to basically procure local people. Now you really got to be conscious again of who you hire and where you hire them. You certainly don't want to hire someone, say, who maybe Liz in India, who's going to be the face or name or be customer service representative for your company. So maybe you look at hiring someone locally to maybe do sales, or be someone who's meeting with clients or whatever. So again, you just got to be conscious of how who you hire and where you hire them. We talked a little bit about some of these free website builders, but some technology platforms for do-it-yourself. Canva.com is a great one for making social media posts, for doing like maybe thank you letters, or small graphics that basically you can edit the text, edit the images, and it has preloaded sizes. So maybe you want to change your cover image on your Facebook page or make a fancy post on your website. You can use Canva.com to create these kind of fancy looking graphics, and you don't have to hire a graphic designer per se to design something for you. Vistaprint, again, there's another kind of virtual company that you can say, for example, go to Canva, make up a business card, or maybe letters or letterhead or brochures, and then you could then upload it to Vistaprint, and then your print collateral gets mailed right directly to your house. And again, Wix.com is a website builder that allow you to basically build a website from scratch. And again, there's varying degrees of quality that come from all of that. So if you're on a shoestring budget and you just want to get going, you don't have a lot of money, and you're a little bit tech savvy, then definitely try to do it yourself. If you're really busy and you have a bit more of a budget, I would definitely recommend hiring a professional to help you, guide you along that. Because again, in business, it's perception, and it's important that you maintain that professional image at all times, because people are judgmental and they're going to decide if they do business with you based on your appearance, how you dress, how your website looks, what your social media look like, your referrals on your Google reviews, all those things. There's so much information at our fingertips nowadays, and people can do so much homework and so much research without even knowing about your business before they do business with you. Like, I bet most car dealerships now, before you used to go to a car dealership, the car salesman would go around and would try to sell you this car with this model, bells and whistles. But I bet you nowadays most people know exactly what car they want before they even go to the dealership, because again, there's review websites, there's YouTube, there's all these different platforms that allow people to research before they make a decision, and so that's pretty powerful. So we talked a little bit about now how we can have remote offices and we can work remotely. So there's some software applications out there that allow you to basically run more effectively and run remotely. And so, like, for example, my company, I'm completely a remote business. I often you'll find me working in a coffee shop, or working from home when the kids aren't there, obviously. But I also have an office downtown, and so there's some really cool tools that you can implement when you're working remotely. Like, for example, obviously email is pretty standard these days, and most people know and how to use it. There's also Google Chat that's on Gmail that allows instant messaging. There's Facebook Messenger, where you can collaborate and chat real time on Facebook. And also, I think Google has and Microsoft both have free video conferencing software. And you don't really have an excuse, because there's tons of free internet now as well, like coffee shops, libraries, schools. They all have free internet everywhere. And so with a cell phone, a laptop, and some of these free communication platforms, you can collaborate pretty much anywhere. I use a software project management system called Asana.com. You'll see that there in the slideshow. And what I like about Asana is it's kind of like well, it's like a project management based software, and it's free. And it's amazing what you can actually do on that system for free, and with a free version. And you can have and invite tons of collaborators. So maybe it's your staff, or maybe it's maybe your suppliers, or anyone that you do business with that you need to communicate with. You can use Asana, and so it works kind of like say like it's got these little basically these little boards, and you can add tasks, and you can add who you want in those tasks, and then basically you can create deadlines, and you can create notes, and you can upload files to it, and you can keep track of who's done what, and once a task's been done, you can click it off. So it works great because then it holds people accountable, and there's also you can see real time what needs to get done, and you can do it based on projects. So how I use it is I have a number of different clients, and we'll put for example, maybe we're building a new website, and we have all these tasks on the content, so we'll upload the content or pictures, and then maybe there's a few people who have to do a few of the tasks in order to make that complete. You can do that all through Asana. So I would recommend if you collaborate with a lot of people. And you don't even necessarily have to collaborate with anyone. You can just use it for your own self as a way to keep track of all your tasks, and keep track of files and stuff like that, instead of endless amounts of emails. One other tool I use a lot and is Slack, and it's a great communication tool. And so how it works is basically like an instant messaging chat, and you can create different channels on there that allow you to add different people to that same chat box. So it works great in combination with Asana because it's real time, and you can get alerted once someone messages you through it. Again, you can also share and upload files to it, and it's free, so I really don't have much of an excuse to not use it. And you can invite people to use it who may not have it, and it could also work on your cell phone and your computer. So it's a great communication tool. It's free. I'd recommend using it. And again, this is another really good tool to collaborate with. So I see it's 7 o'clock. We're going to take a quick 10-minute break. We'll resume at 7:11, and yeah, we're going to watch some videos after the break, and yeah, talk some more about some technology. So we'll see you back here in 10 minutes. All right, hello everybody. Got a short little break there. So I'm just going to get Jay to load up the Slack video here. We were just talking about the communications video Slack. So go ahead, Jay. I'm just going to introduce. It's just a short tutorial.
Hey guys,
about Slack.
Austin here again, back with the second tutorial in our Ascend Slack series. That's some alliteration for you. This tutorial is going to be a lot more about how to actually use Slack. If you're not signed up for Slack yet and you don't know how to, go ahead and watch the last video and then come back to this one when you're done. In this tutorial, we're going to be focusing on 4 of the main features of Slack. That is direct messages, channels, search, and pins. And it's okay if you don't understand those yet. That's what this whole video is about. We'll teach you what each one of those mean, basically. Okay, so I think the easiest one of these to understand is direct messages, so we'll go ahead and start off with that one. As you can see over here in the bottom left-hand corner of this screen, you have this huge panel down here. It is called direct messages, or for short, DMs. Basically what you can do is you can go through and you can see all the people on our team. There's a bunch of people. And if you wanted to message one of them individually, you would just click on their name and message them. So this is basically similar to text messaging somebody or sending them a message on Facebook or emailing them directly. This is the same idea. Conversation between you and them, completely private, not visible to the rest of the team. So, for example, let's say we wanted to message Autumn. I would click on her name, and you can see her beautiful face down there, and we can say, hey. So I messaged her, and she will receive that message now. If she wanted to respond back, she could later. Another way of doing this is to go up to this little plus sign that's right next to the direct messages name right there. You can see that little plus sign. If we click on that, we can search for a person on the team. So if we don't see them right away and we just want to search for someone, let's say we wanted to message Kona. I'll type in Kona's name, click on his name, and then hit go. I'll also say hey to him. Okay, and then the final piece of direct messages is if you wanted to message multiple people. So let's say we wanted to message Kona and Autumn. I would type in both of their names and then hit go. And then I could start messaging both of them. Hey to both of you. Both of you. And then, again, I would hit enter in order to send the message. As you can see, it's a common theme that I'm typing into this bottom bar down here. Basically, whenever you want to send a message, you'll be typing into that bottom bar. And then when you're done, you'll go ahead and hit enter, and it'll send the message. Cool, so now we've sent a message to Kona individually, Autumn individually, as well as both of them together. Group DMs can also include more than 2 people, but I just used 2 people in this example. All right, so that's DMs. Hopefully you got a quick little taste of those. Those you probably shouldn't need as much, maybe for individual talking, but for group talking, we want to use these things called channels. The best way to think of a channel is in terms of like channels on TV, actually, in my opinion. So for example, if you wanted to watch something on a certain topic, you might go to your directory and look for, sports or for food or for movies or something like that. But let's take Food Network channel as an example. So looking at Food Network, obviously it's going to be some channel that has some focused programming around food, right? Same idea with the channels in Slack. Let's say we wanted to get some focused conversation around inspiration. We would click on this inspiration channel. Again, you can see up here that there is a nice little sidebar with the different channels listed up there. Once I click on inspiration, it brings me to the inspiration channel. And you can see that Jim has already posted a couple of things in here. He's written a document and stuff like that. That's really cool. And he posted a nice little inspirational thing. And this is really kind of akin to sending a email blast to everyone within the channel, right? So everybody who's in this channel, you can view the people who are in it, will get a notification and will be able to see what's going on inside of this inspiration thing. So, for example, let's say I wanted to post a message like, hey, I found this cool inspirational video. And then I would like paste a link to a video, maybe youtube.com/this is a fake video. Obviously, it's not a real video, but if I send it, you can see it'll actually link it all up right there. Anybody who's in this channel can click on that and view the video, and they'll be ready to go. The beauty of these channels is that it's transparent. So anybody on the team can join one of these channels. You are defaulted to joining a few of them. And also that they're they're searchable to everybody on the team. So it's the brain, it's really where everybody else can see what's going on everywhere else. This is really where a lot of the conversation and focused talk is going to happen. And it's really going to open up a lot of avenues, we hope, through the search and through the conversational aspect of Slack. So speaking of search, let's go ahead and talk about search a little bit. As you can see, there's always this kind of ever-present search bar up here on the top right. It's really, really super powerful. You just click on it, just like any other search bar, and you can see that it has these special search narrowers. But for now, we'll just do a basic search. For example, let's look up these tutorial thing. So I typed in tutorial and hit enter, and then you can see right here, Kona has shared a file, Slack tutorial, and then he commented on it. So if I click on this, it'll bring me right to the file that Kona shared, and it's the Slack tutorial that I wrote. All right, so now we've covered DMs, channels, and search. The last topic I want to cover is how to view pins on a channel. So pins are, you can see that they are up here. Basically, pins are a way of highlighting important messages that were sent in the channel that should be viewed by everyone. This one has 0 pins, so it's not a very good example, but if we go over to the internal documents channel, again here on the channels sidebar, you can see that it actually has 1 pin. And so I'll go ahead and click on this pin up here, and you can see that there's 1 pinned item, and it says important and useful links. So I'll go ahead and click on that as well. And right here you can see actually it's a post. It's a nice little document containing all of the links to our Google Drive folder, meeting notes, branding materials, SC fundamentals, and it'll be updated continuously as more and more important links show up. So whenever you want to view that, you can just go over to the internal documents channel, click on the pins, and then you can click on the pinned messages. Cool. So that's how to generally use Slack. Again, if you want to send a message, you just type into this bottom bar down here, anything you want, and then you hit enter in order to send it. And if you're having trouble deciding where to post something, I've made a nice little flow chart that you can follow as you're getting the hang of things. And it'll kind of generally point you in the right direction. And again, there's really no rules here. This is just kind of general ideas of how to use Slack. We just want you to kind of get the feel of it, and then we can kind of start breaking rules as we go along. Thank you for watching this video. Hopefully that clears some things up for those of you who are new to Slack. We, Kona and I, both think that Slack is going to be a really powerful tool for us to use, and hopefully it will help us further the conversation.
All right, so just a little kind of introduction to Slack. It's a great, powerful tool for communications, and you can see how it can also archive communications so that you can go back and it's got if you shared links or if you've uploaded documents to it, it allows you to be able to go back and search for that content, and so then no one has an excuse why they didn't get that information or they didn't know about it, because it's all there recorded in perpetuity. So again, it's free, doesn't cost anything, just like the Asana project management software that again allows you to assign tasks as well as store files and also see real time who's done what and how far it's coming along. And I think most people who work in that kind of realm as far as business to business, they understand those tools, and again, it's another way to reduce your overhead. Maybe you can you don't need an office space, and because when you're starting out a business, you obviously have to be really conscious of your cash flow, and if you don't need a office space, then why would you have it? So road offices and project management software are again really powerful. There's those are 2 examples, but they're not the only ones out there. There's other project management softwares, different communication softwares, other platforms for managing like Google Drive and Dropbox. I personally like and use Dropbox, and you can have Dropbox on your computer, you can have Dropbox on your cell phone. People also use Google Drive. They're both have their pros and cons, but what that allows you to do is be able to access files. And what I do on my my computers is I literally don't save anything on the hard drive on my laptop. I store everything on Dropbox. And so, for example, if something were to ever happen to my laptop, like say the hard drive crash or it gets stolen, literally I could just get a new computer and be up and running within hours, because I don't keep anything on there, because I know that computers do go. And I learned that this week. I thought my computer was gone, but turns out it was just the RAM that went in my computer this week. So it's technology. It allows us to do so much, but we're at the mercy of it. So you need to build these kind of strategies to minimize any risks from technology. Which also include things like having good antivirus software. Being aware not to open up viruses via email, and understanding what to click on, or what's clickbait or malware, because all these things now are it's out there, and it's they're trying to maliciously attack your computer. So anyways, so some great software tools right there. Gonna go on. So some other technology for your business. We're just talking about Dropbox and Google Drive. Again, talking about security. So if you're gonna have a website, I would recommend and I use WordPress to build all my websites. I really like WordPress. I think WordPress is probably the best platform for building websites. It's basically like a content management system. So it allows you to, easily update the website. There's all different types of plugins and applications to make your website better, like chat messages, or what else? Make some integration as far as like online booking or e-commerce system. So there's all different types of applications that you can add to WordPress. And Jay, if you want to go and click on the picking a website theme on ThemeForest on the links there, and just bring up that website. I'm going to show you where, and when I'm building websites, this is where I go to pick my website themes. So here you go. So it's themeforest.net, and you'll see at the top there's web themes and templates. There's code, video, audio, graphics, photos. So they are selling, basically intellectual property, all those things, and one of them are WordPress themes. So what I would do is, so you can see here's browse all, there's corporate, creative, blog, magazine, e-commerce, retail. So I would go and say search your business and look for so Jay, if you want to just click on browse all items there. Oh, you had it open there. And that last, yeah. So if you just click on browse all items there, on the little green there on the left, yeah. So it'll come up with all these different types of website themes. So you can see, you can sort by, best sellers, newest, best rated, trending, and you can see how each of these things, there's like, this one's like $60, and there's 23.3 thousand 5-star reviews. And so if you say, for example, you click on the Avada link there, click there. So here it kind of tells you a little bit more information. And if you scroll down and you click on live preview, just underneath the Avada, it's going to open up an example of this theme. And so basically, you can, if you scroll down a little bit, so it shows you all the information about the theme and how to customize it, and there's different types of themes within that theme. So what you do is you find a theme that works for your business that you like. So you can get out of there, Jay, now. You can scroll off, go back to the slideshow. So you go and you find a theme that you like that works best for your business, and so you purchase this theme. So you see this theme is $60, and then that's what you build your website on, is that theme. And so you can then customize it, add your logo, add your content, and it has basically why you use it. It has a really good content management system. So you'll probably know what a blog is, but it's basically a section in the site that allows you to update articles and upload photos and links to your website that you are able to share online with potential customers and clients, whether that's about your new products or your new services. But it's really easy to update those WordPress websites, and it's pretty much a standard platform with websites. Not just having a good blog is really important and being able to update it, but they also have some really good, like I was mentioning before, is these different third-party apps, like commerce apps. One's called WooCommerce, and I'll talk a little bit about that either today or tomorrow night. So we talked about the theme forest. It's a great place to go and pick a theme that you like for your website. And again, that's where when I'm building websites, that's where I'll go and look for a website to build. The next slide I got here. So again, I was talking about live chats, that Tidio chat there. I really like that one. It's a really good example of online chat, and that's a real growing area as far as communications. And then CRM systems, again, that's customer relationship management software that allows you to keep track of, like there's Salesforce is one where you can keep track of your clients if you have a ton of clients. And then on, things like, online instant quotes on your website and contact forms. So we talked a little bit about marketing technologies like web and social media, Google, but obviously on the financial side of your business, which is just as equally as important as the communication part, is technology around finance and financial technology. So I personally use QuickBooks, and it's a paid version. But there are also other platforms out there called Wave and Mint, which I know have some better, they're more beneficial or around the free side of it. So if you're looking for more of a free option, I would definitely check out Wave and Mint. But if you are an existing business and you're not using QuickBooks, I would definitely, check out QuickBooks. Yeah, so Jay, you can go ahead and turn the video. It's a quick little online tutorial about QuickBooks.
In this video, I'm going to show you how to navigate your way around the QuickBooks Online interface so that you can quickly get started with this software. Hey guys, I'm James and welcome to Accounting Stuff, the channel that teaches you all you need to know about accounting and bookkeeping. In today's video, I'm going to take you on a journey as together we explore the QuickBooks Online interface so that you can learn where everything is and find your feet in this accounting software. It can be rough times getting to grips with new software. Believe me, I know. I've had to work with a whole bunch of different accounting software packages during my time in public and private accounting. It feels like I've been through it all, from how come everything's in different places, to why is it so hard to run a single report, and the dreaded, oh my god, it's crashed, I've lost everything. Wait, have I? Yes, damn it. Anyway, these issues can often lead to hours spent roaming the internet trying to find a solution. So I decided to create this video to help budding QuickBooks users like yourself learn how to use the software as part of a playlist that you can find linked up here and down below in the comments. I'm going to keep adding to this over time, so subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when the next video is out. Like I mentioned, today we're going to cover navigating the QuickBooks Online interface. You're going to find out where to go to set up all of your company information, to create new transactions. Too much time to get into depth on it, then you'll get yourself a free 30-day trial. There are 3 choices to pick from: Simple Start, Essentials, and Plus, that offer varying levels of features. I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty right now, but I think most people go for Essentials because it allows QuickBooks to manage your bills and payments, which can be a big time saver, something that I'll touch on later. If you'd like me to make a video reviewing each of these choices, let me know down in the comments. Pick what's right for you, trial it out using the link, and remember, QuickBooks makes it really easy to upgrade in the future if you end up needing extra features. Great, now that we're all set up, let's crack on. Welcome to the QuickBooks Online dashboard. This is going to be your default homepage each time you log in. So let's take a look around. Up here, you'll have your company name and logo. Today, I'm using the US version of the sample company, so all of the information that you can see in here is made up for test purposes. On the left side of the screen, we've got the nav bar, and above me, all lined up in a row, we've got the create menu, the search function, and the gear icon. These are what we'll be discussing today, and together they'll give you access to everything you need in QuickBooks Online. The dashboard also contains some nice handy summaries of your invoices, expenses, sales, profit and loss, and finally your bank accounts on the right, which we'll get into shortly. And by the way, if at any time you find yourself wanting a bit more space on the screen, then you can click on these three little horizontal lines to minimize the nav bar. This can be helpful if you're working off a laptop. The first menu item that I like to show you is the gear icon. This is super important when you're getting started because it's here that you'll need to set up your company account and settings, which will affect your QuickBooks Online experience. From the gear menu, you can also manage your users, which basically means who can access your QuickBooks account. The user limits change depending on which package you're using. This can be really handy to share some of your workload. Over here, you can also access your chart of accounts, which is basically the list of all of the accounts in your general ledger. These vary a lot from business to business, so it might be worth your while getting an accountant or QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor to help you tailor these for your purposes. I can't emphasize it enough that getting these right from the start will save you so much time and headaches down the road. The gear menu is also where you can access your bank reconciliation, which I'd recommend you do at least once a month. This is where you reconcile the transactions between QuickBooks Online and your bank account to make sure that the information contained in here is accurate and up to date. I've made a video explaining the theory behind bank recs that you can find up in the corner, and I'll link to it below as well. If we click through to account and settings, this is where you can change your company name and logo. Bear in mind that these will be displayed on your invoices that your customers are going to see. Below that, you can update your employer identification number if you're running a corporation, or your social security number if you're a sole proprietor. These are used when filing your taxes, so again, care is required when filling out this information. Beneath this, you can change your company type. So whether you're a sole proprietor, a partnership, or a corporation, there is a tax form just for you. Select an option and enter your industry, hit save, and down we go. Here is where you can enter all of your business contact information, your email, phone number, website, and address. QuickBooks Online lets you put in more than one if you've got a separate email or address that you want your customers to see. Again, it's crucial to fill this out correctly because these contact details are going to show up on your invoices so your customers will use them to contact you. If we exit out and head back to the dashboard, then we can take a look at the Create menu next. The Create menu is where you go to create new transactions. In QuickBooks Online, there are many types to choose from, and to help us narrow them down, Intuit have split them out into 4 categories based on who the transactions are with. We've got the people we're selling to, our customers, the people we're buying from, our vendors, employees for payroll, and other. I'll run you through some of the most common transactions that are worth knowing about. Number 1 on everyone's list should be invoices. We all want to get paid for the work we've done, so this is your go-to place for billing clients. We click through to access the Create New Invoice form, or alternatively, if you like using shortcuts, hit Control-Option-I for Macs or Control-Alt-I for PCs to get here from the dashboard. This invoice form contains all of the fields that you need to create and send invoices to your customers or clients. We won't linger here for too long because I've made a video covering invoices already that you can find linked in the top corner of the screen and down below in the description as well. A useful thing to note here is that QuickBooks Online can be set up to automatically email your invoices directly to your customers as soon as they're completed. This will help speed up your cash collection process. X out of here or hit escape to return to the dashboard, and we'll dive back into the Create menu. So we can invoice customers, but next we need to manage our own bills and expenses. These options are both found under the vendor column, and whilst they might sound similar, they're actually different. You should use expenses for transactions where you've already paid for a good or service. For instance, if you're expensing fuel that you bought from a gas station, you've filled up your tank and you've already paid for it, so it goes in here. The shortcut for this form is Control-Option-X or Control-Alt-X. It can be worth learning to use these shortcuts because they can save you so much time. I've made a video on QuickBooks Online shortcuts that I'll link to down below. Bills, on the other hand, are for situations where you've received a bill, but you haven't made the payment yet. I prefer to call them supplier invoices because you owe the supplier money, but maybe that's just me. Usually the bill or supplier invoice will give you a due date, which is when you're expected to make the payment by. Here in the form, you can fill out all of the relevant details before hitting save and close to enter it into the system. QuickBooks can also save you a bunch of time by allowing you to batch pay your bills and get all of those payments out in one go. Super duper handy.
Right, the moment we've all been waiting for. It's navbar time. You've updated your company account and settings using the gear icon, and you've entered some transactions in the Create menu. You can now start extracting some meaningful information out of QuickBooks Online. This is where the software really comes into its own. We already discussed the dashboard earlier, so let's head to the banking tab next.
This is by far one of the best features of QuickBooks Online. Here you can add your business's bank account, and then each day QuickBooks will download all of your banking transactions and allow you to categorize these as different expense types, which will help you out when it comes to running reports. Simply pick an uncategorized transaction, select a category and hit add. It's that simple. Within this tab, you can also match each transaction that appears on the bank statement to the bills that you've entered using the Create menu. This is a big time saver when it comes to doing your monthly bank rec, especially since QuickBooks will suggest matches based on date and dollar value. No more wasting time trawling through spreadsheets trying to do this manually. You can also create bank rules to automatically classify transactions that happen on a regular basis to save yourself even more time. Moving swiftly on to the Sales tab, here you'll find a list of all of your sales invoices that you've sent to your customers who you sold stuff to. We can easily see the customer names, due dates, and balance outstanding, which is how much they still owe you for each invoice. At the top of this list, we have all of the open invoices that you're still owed money for, and below that, we can see all of the closed ones that have been fully paid. QuickBooks Online highlights overdue invoices in orange to make them easy to spot. You can give them a call or send them a reminder to chase the payment if you're short on time. Moving on down the navbar, we have a tab for expenses. This is where you can find how and where you've spent your money. You have a list of all of your expense transactions, and if we go to the Vendors tab, then you can see a list of everyone that you've bought things from and how much you owe them in the open balance column. I can see that we have 4 bills overdue. If you click on the orange bar, we can filter down to show these overdue bills, and you can make the payments directly from here. This is an alternative to using the Pay Bills feature in the Create menu. If we head back to the navbar, the Workers tab is where you're able to manage your payroll for employees and contractors. This can be purchased as a separate add-on through the link that I've put in the description. Below that, we have Reports, which is another of my favorite areas of QuickBooks Online. Here you can easily run a profit and loss to check on your business's performance, which you can easily customize to change the periods that you want to look at and add a comparative column to help you analyze your results. If we go back to the report list, you can also run a balance sheet to check on your financial position, an accounts receivable aging summary to help you spot overdue invoices that need to be chased, and many other useful business reports. Bear in mind though that you won't have access to all of these unless you're using the QuickBooks Online Plus version. Having these reports at your fingertips is a real game changer when it comes to understanding your business and gathering evidence to help you make informed decisions. There are many more useful things going on in the navbar, but we won't be able to get into all of them today. You can manage your sales tax within the Taxes tab. The Accounting tab is just another way to access your chart of accounts and bank rec. And in My Accountant, you can connect with your accountant, if you have one, and share important files with them. I also want to point out the search function at the top of the page. This is a great way for you to get a breakdown of all of your recent transactions that you can drill into to check and make changes if necessary. You can also search for and quickly find older ones using transaction number, date, or amount.
Thanks for watching. If you found this video useful, give it a like, share it, and don't forget to subscribe for more QuickBooks Online tutorials. I also have a whole playlist of accounting basics videos with new ones being added each week, so you can check those out too. If you've got any questions, let me know down below in the comments, or message me directly on Instagram at Accounting Stuff. And if you've made it this far and you've decided that QuickBooks Online is the right fit for you, then remember.
All right, so yeah, just gonna give you a short tutorial about QuickBooks. So again, the technology has come a long ways. In the video it said definitely recommend hiring a bookkeeper or like a QuickBooks professional advisor to help you get set up. Especially if you have like more complicated accounts, receivables, and payables. But what's great about QuickBooks is the ease of use, and it makes it really easy for small business owners to manage their finances professionally. And so, yeah, you can save on like your bookkeeping costs, as well as it just, when you are sending in invoices, is that it makes you look professional. It has your logo on it, has all your contact information. It automatically formats your invoices, and it emails them on your behalf, as well as it sends reminders. If you don't mark that it's paid, they'll get a reminder email that it's due. So it looks professional, and it kind of keeps things automated, so that but also is that it's so critical for cash flow purposes that you get your money quickly back. So with this, you can send out invoices instantaneously through email, and you could sometimes a client doesn't get the invoice for whatever reason. You're able to print it off as a PDF and email it as well. And it just keeps track too, right? So you can see, when invoices are overdue. You can see when you sent them. And yeah, this makes you look professional, but you can also run reports too, as you see that you can run like profit and loss reports, outstanding invoices. One thing I learned in school way back when is the importance in business to make it really easy for people to pay you and to communicate with you. So I know one of the technologies that QuickBooks has is a third-party app that allows you to also accept credit cards. And depending on what your business is, what your product or service is, I would highly recommend that you allow your business to accept credit cards. Now, I know QuickBooks, I don't use QuickBooks for my merchant account processing. I use another company called Payfirma, so you may want to check them out. They have a pretty low commission rate. I think it's like 1.9%, which I find pretty competitive, and they have good service. And it's just basically a website that you go online and you enter the credit card information, and you make the transaction, and it automatically sends the client an email receipt. And with that, as well as you can set up recurring invoices. And so what you do is you say set up a one-time automatic recurring invoice, and they may receive it like every month or however you schedule it. And then it could also just automatically debit their credit card, and then it just goes automatically right into your bank account. So again, really important in business, you really manage your cash flow, because I think when you don't manage your cash flow, that's basically one of the main reasons why businesses go under, is because whether they leverage themselves too far, and they don't they may have a great product or great service, but they fail on getting the money in a timely manner. And then also, of course, you're tracking your expenses and where you're spending your money. One really good thing that I really like about it is the ability to reconcile your bank statements. So you can download your online banking statements, and it automatically integrates in with the bookkeeping software QuickBooks, and then you can apply the different bank charges to your business, and then it automatically calculates those as costs of doing your business, and then you can get full financial snapshot of the picture of all your expenses and your profit and your losses. And so again, it just makes it much easier to manage your finances properly. And so what we are going to do tomorrow night is we're going to talk more about advertising and some of the technology around advertising. So for example, we talked about social media, where we'll look at a video on how to set up a Facebook page, but also how to make some advertisements to social media, as well as Google. We'll look at some email newsletter software. Well, we're going to look at and check out Shopify and Etsy, and just kind of look more about like what's the difference between like Facebook and Google advertising. So we'll guess we'll just wrap it up tonight. Again, if you have any questions or comments or want to reach out to me, please feel free to contact me. There's my information right up here, my phone number, my cell phone. You can text or call me, and there's my email, my website address, and I'd be happy to help you out. So again, want to thank everybody for your time. I really enjoy doing this. That's a passion of mine. So again, thank you very much, and have a good night, everybody.
Yes, thank you very much. That was a great session, and we look forward to more tomorrow, especially with the advertising and promotion on online social media. You had a couple of questions. One from Lillian asking about the credit card software, and maybe you might want to touch base with her tomorrow or use that as part of your intro. So for everybody, thank you for being part of our webinar series. We hope you're getting a lot out of it. We're certainly enjoying presenting it to you. We have some good people handling the webinars and providing all the information you're looking for. Tomorrow, as Chris said, is part 2 of technology in business, everything you wanted to know, but maybe were afraid to ask. And then we'll talk about what comes next week and the week after. So for tonight, we're going to sign off. Stay well, stay safe, and we will see you tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Thank you, everybody. Good night.